Hello everybody, I'm Perry. Today I am with Eddie Stone, CEO of Touchstone Essentials company that manufacture zeolite, the product that Ken mentions many times on my shows. Hello Eddie.
Hello Perry, nice to have a chance to speak with you today.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here with me too. Eddie, on my shows, Ken talked many times about your product, zeolite. Can you please let us know more about this zeolite?
Yeah, I'm happy to, and I appreciate the chance to speak to your audience, and certainly appreciate that you and Ken have been providing some education about zeolites. I've been able to work with them since the early 2000s. I think my first exposure was back in 2004, and it's really remarkable what I've seen happen for people beginning to recognize how toxic we are. There's a lot of great things about the modern world and life that we have, but one of the downside is a constant exposure to chemicals and other substances that are in the air that we breathe, found in the water, that we drink and bathe in, and also found in our food supply. And so we believe that just like you try to pay attention to your nutrition and getting good nutrition for good health, that we also need to be conscious of detoxing. And it needs to be something we think about on a daily basis. And so we're proud that we work with the zeolite. We have two forms of it. Mm-hmm. I believe you've shared with your audience the two forms, both the Pure Body and the Pure Body Extra. And if you'd like me to, I can answer any details about the products if you wish.
Eddie, may I know where can we find this zeolite? Where did your company find it? The zeolite.
We mine our zeolites in the United States. We have a mining group that we work with that we believe provides us one of the purest sources of clinoptilolite. So zeolites come in multiple forms. I think there's some 50 different naturally identified zeolites, and then there's also synthetic zeolites. We prefer to only work with natural zeolites, and the zeolite type we work with is called clinoptilolite. Clinoptilolite is commonly found in clay in many parts of the world or in concentrations in mines. It's referred to as a sheet-like zeolite, and its value is associated with the fact that it has a structured cage that maintains a negative charge if we properly work with it. And that negative charge in the body is useful because when exposed to positively charged environmental pollutants such as cadmium, lead, mercury, volatile organics, and or other toxins that have a positive charge, the two are attracted to one another. And so you might think of the way that the north end and the south end of a magnet are attracted to one another, and if you get them close together, they'll snap together. Maybe you even played with magnets as a child and you sort of remember that behavior. Well, the same thing occurs when the zeolite becomes in proximity to these pollutants that I've just mentioned. And so it's effective based upon proximity. And so it's useful to use it multiple times per day. And what you really would prefer is that it be circulating throughout the body. And so that's how we use it and why we use the zeolite we do, because the clinoptilolite we're able to access in the U.S. here is a clean and pure form, and we actually provide that information on our website. So for those that have clicked that link below in your broadcast and they come to the page for either Pure Body or Pure Body Extra, they can actually scroll through and look at the testing results that we have to learn a little bit more about that detail if they're looking for it.
Mm-hmm. And zeolite is very new for me, and I don't know, maybe American people might know better than here in Thailand. But when I search on internet, okay, well, I only see like zeolite is used for water treatment, agriculture, soil conditioner, air filter system in automotive, biofilter media, and detergent stuff. And in Thailand, I don't think that we have this, to take to our body yet. And is it really, really safe, Eddie?
Yes, it is. It is very safe. In fact, it has what's referred to as GRAS status here in the United States. And GRAS status is a reference point of safety by the U.S. FDA, basically the regulatory body that governs these types of products. And that's because clinoptilolite as a specific ingredient, which is the type of zeolite we use, has been found in the food supply either because it's been used as a part of manufacturing food or used as a supplement for decades, so that it has a proven safety record. And so it doesn't have a label claim for any kind of contraindications associated with food, drug, or medicine. And so GRAS status stands for generally recognized as safe. And so we do consider it quite safe. And the history of zeolite and human consumption is really quite old. I mean, it goes back more than 5,000 years. We can go back to clay-eating societies or societies that ate clay, going back deep into Chinese history, because they were trying to fight dysentery. And so back then, those societies, I'm sure they just thought they were eating dirt and didn't think much about what the constitution of that was, but they were actually eating clay that contained zeolite that helped out in stopping people who developed dysentery, often associated with historic times when cleanliness and things of that kind were a struggle. And you can even see zeolite show up again in history during Roman times, during the times of the Roman Empire when they were building cities. They would often use clay structures, half piping to help as aquifers to supply water inside of the city. And what they found, and one of the reputations that the Romans had was for having clean water, is that the zeolites naturally found in the clay used in that kind of piping was actually helpful in keeping the water clean and less contaminated than it would have been otherwise. And it's used in today's world really around the globe. If you were traveling in Japan and you went into a grocery store, it wouldn't be uncommon to find that there were clay pods that you could purchase to put inside a water pitcher that you kept in the refrigerator to keep cold water, because that clay pod contains zeolite and would help to purify that water. You'll often see zeolite sold in that same manner in the US and in Europe, but also generally pods that are sold to be kept in a refrigerator to help control or contain odor. And so the properties of zeolite in the intersection of using them in terms of human consumption are quite broad. I do realize some places I haven't quite jumped on the zeolite bandwagon, such as Thailand, but we really think it's one of the more important supplements that we can have access to.
Okay, Eddie, but I still have question from my comment on my video asking, can zeolite cause cancer?
I'm unaware of any type of research, any type of publication, anything with any type of scientific validity that would indicate that zeolite can play a role in causing cancer. If there's something out there during the course of my career which has been largely focused on zeolites, I've never seen anything of that kind in any type of published reports, either coming out of Europe, Eastern Europe particularly, where there's been a lot of research on zeolites, and or Japan, and or in the United States, or really any part of the world. I've just never seen anything like that. One of the common reasons people use a detoxifier like Pure Body or Pure Body Extra zeolite products is because they help to detox the body of environmental pollutants like cadmium, lead, mercury, which we know can damage DNA and play a role in how cells mutate and ultimately can become cancerous. And so I do believe that the general consensus is the better off we do in terms of detoxing the body, the more likely we are to enjoy homeostasis and good health, making degenerative diseases like cancer, cardiovascular disease, heart disease, diabetes, just make us less vulnerable and reduce our risk factors. So I've just never heard anything like that.
Uh-huh. And Eddie, what are the differences between zeolite of touchstone and zeolite in powder from other companies?
Yeah, and this is a really important distinction and characteristic for us to look at. When we look at effective zeolite products, there are several things we can consider, but two of the more important is to consider the preparation of the cage and then also the size. And so let's first look at the preparation of the cage. When zeolites are mined, whether it's in the US or any part of the world, they're much like a sponge that you have in your kitchen that's been used to clean the counters or to clean the dishes. They're already dirty when you find them in nature. And that's because the way the structure is of the zeolite and the importance of that cage maintaining a negative charge, that means it already holds something inside of the cage. And so quite literally, it's naturally dirty, which means that its effectiveness in the body is diminished or lessened because the cage is already dirty. So you might consider that sponge example. If I have a dirty sponge and I'm trying to clean something off of my countertop in my kitchen or a dish, that sponge is going to be much less effective at absorbing either a spill or helping to wipe up the countertop. However, if I go over to the sink and I clean the sponge and try to empty it out, it's much more likely to absorb something that I'm trying to wipe off the counter. The same is true of the zeolite. When we put it through our process, what we do is we, using a series of exercises where we raise the temperature, lower the temperature, change the pH, raising it, lowering it along the way so that we're trying to purge the cage and fill in its place something that it'll hold, but it doesn't prefer. And so something like calcium or magnesium or something that the cage will hold, but it doesn't prefer. And so when it goes into the body, then it's prepared and more likely to engage in cationic exchange, where it's exchanging out, say, a modest component of calcium or magnesium in exchange for lead or cadmium or mercury. And this process makes it more prepared and more likely to be successful. The challenge with powdered zeolites is they've not been cleaned. And so they quite literally are being consumed as already being dirty. And so there may be some effectiveness inside the body. They're certainly going to be diminished by the fact that they haven't been cleaned. The second challenge is the powdered zeolites are large in their structure, somewhere between 4 to 6, as much as 8 or 10 microns in size. And so that means that per the space that they occupy, they have a limited amount of surface area. And for a zeolite to be truly effective, it needs to have as much surface area exposure as possible. And so I'll give you an example to think about. If you think about something like, say, a tennis ball. Mm-hmm. If you have a tennis ball and you are able to put it in some paint and roll it around on the table, that creates and shows you or illustrates the surface area of that tennis ball. But you might imagine if you cut the top of the tennis ball and you pour inside, say, marbles, something smaller, that even though they're inside, now because of their surface area, it actually creates a greater surface area in the same space. And so what we have found is important for effectiveness is by milling the zeolite to a smaller size than you would commonly find in a powder. In our case, we're looking for a 0.3 to a 0.4 micron mean average size, and this is all discussed on our website. If you click the link below, you can go and look at the detail in a white paper. By doing that, we're able to create in the same space a larger surface area. And so as you consume it, you quite literally are giving yourself a better chance to absorb and detox those toxins out of the body. That's simply not possible in a powder form because it's so small in size after we mill it that it creates almost a dust or a powder that would make it very difficult to consume. And so one of the reasons that we use the highly filtered and cleaned water that we put the zeolite into in a mix is to make it controllable and usable a bias, right? And so you'll notice that it settles to the bottom of the bottle. That's why we encourage you to shake it. That's because it's so small and it's so fine in the Pure Body regular, and it creates an additional surface area. So those are two aspects: the cleaning of the cage, which requires the product to be wet, and then the size of the structure, which means to manage it, it has to be wet. Those are two distinctive qualities amongst others that you can't achieve with a powdered zeolite. So I do see powdered zeolites out there all the time. That's nothing more than just raw, milled rock, and its effectiveness in the body is limited compared to something that's had the cage cleaned and prepared and sized properly for the body.
Mm-hmm. Eddie, but I believe that the company that manufacture the powdered zeolite, they will claim that the products are safe to take too. As consumer like us, Eddie, we will have to search from different sources, right? And what exactly for us, like to trust, and to decide to buy from whatever company?
Well, and look, don't get my comments wrong. It's not that I don't think those products aren't safe to use.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the most part, of course, I don't know all of them, but most of them I've seen, I would say, are safe to use. I just don't believe they're very effective. And here's what I would tell people to do. If you click that link and you go to our website, if you scroll to the bottom of the page,
mm-hmm.
you'll see that there's over 900 positive reviews about our company, and those are third-party verified, right? We don't control those reviews; they're just made by the public. There's over 900 positive reviews made about our company and our organization, dozens upon dozens of them on the individual products, including Pure Body Regular and Pure Body Extra, and we can talk about the differences here in just a moment, the synergy. And then we also have a positive AAA rating from the Better Business Bureau. Everything we have comes with an unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee. And so we're willing to say to the public, look, if you put your trust in us, we'll give you a guarantee on the effectiveness of the product. If you look at our historic history, we enjoy more than 900 positive reviews, dozens of individual positive reviews on the products, and a AAA rating for the Better Business Bureau. I don't know that my competition has those kinds of public third-party endorsements. And so we are willing to say, hey, try our products. If you don't like them, return them, but we believe you'll discover a difference if you do.
Uh-huh. And any reports of side effects from taking zeolite or not, Eddie?
I don't hear of any type of common side effects. I don't think it would be unusual that a person might be more thirsty or want to drink more water.
Mm-hmm.
Like any type of detox, it may increase the frequency of urination. And
mm-hmm.
so a person may need to be conscious of having more water. But in terms of whether you mix it with your food or not, I don't know of any challenges associated with that are recognized on any type of national level, and there are no contraindications that I'm aware of. I would just tell folks that when they use it, just use common sense to maintain good hydration, and I'm just unaware of any other side effects.
Mm-hmm. So now I have a question, okay? How do I know that we are actually getting the real zeolite? Zeolite, the taste, maybe what it was when you tasted it. How do we know that we are actually getting that product? And how can you prove that this is what I am purchasing from you?
Right. And so the only thing I can say in that regard is we do provide our testing on the website that people can look at. Mm-hmm. But other than that, we have maintained a good reputation for the 6 years that we have been in business. I think if people weren't getting what they paid for, it would be reflected in poor reviews. Of course, we don't have those. We probably wouldn't have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau if we weren't supplying people, what we said we were supplying people. And so we believe that when people buy and use the product, they will prove themselves to be what we say they are. You'll also notice that we use no tamper packaging so that the consumer can feel safe. But here's the other thing. We directly ship from our facilities to consumers. There's no third-party person in between to either tamper with the product or somehow change it out for something else. And so you're getting this directly from our company, that we've been doing this for 6 years and maintaining a tremendous reputation with our customers and consumers. So I really believe that as people try it and try the products, they're going to wind up having a very strong trust in what we're doing.
Okay, my next question. How long are we supposed to take zeolite?
Well, if a person has an acute problem, maybe they've got some symptom from exposure to a volatile organic or some kind of health problem as a result of exposure. Different people's bodies manage exposure to toxins differently. They may find some immediate relief from using the product for 30 to 60 to 90 days. And so maybe for them, this is a temporary experience. But the way that I look at it is, the air that I'm exposed to isn't going to change 6 months from now. The toxins I'm exposed to in the atmosphere, the toxins I'm exposed to in the food supply, in water, it isn't going to change, right? All of a sudden, our global society isn't going to stop using chemicals to process things for modern living. They're all of a sudden not going to stop using pesticides, herbicides, fungicides in the preparation or the growing of food. And even if you're buying organic, it's unlikely that represents 100% of your diet. And so just like I believe I need to have fresh fruits and vegetables every day, I need to have greens in my diet on an everyday basis, I believe I need to personally detox on a regular basis. And so I use Pure Body and Pure Body Extra because the synergy between the two of them, I use them every day, just like I try to eat healthy and I try to exercise on a weekly basis. It's a part of my routine because my exposure to toxins isn't going to stop from one day to the next.
Okay, and next question, please. Zeolite are helpful for pets like dogs. Would they harm them in any way?
No, I'm unaware of any circumstance where zeolites have a negative impact on pets. In fact, talking about small pets, such as cats or dogs, it's very common for me to hear from people that are using them with their pets. Their pets deal with the same exposures that we do. I've had people tell me that the coat on their dog or their cat improved in its quality. I've had people refer to them having health concerns or issues that have been lessened by using the zeolite. I know that it's not uncommon that zeolites are used in the feed for large animals, such as horses and or cattle. And so I think it's very common that for the very same reasons that humans use zeolite to help to detoxify on a daily basis, that also happens with our pets. I know our dog, he's a zeolite dog, and we put it in his water, and he uses it on a regular basis. And I know my daughter does that with her cat, and literally thousands of people I've worked with during my career have also just continued to use zeolites with their pets.
Okay. And the next question, I have been throwing up almost every time I take the zeolite. Why is this happening to me? Am I allergic to it, or am I being detoxed? Is this a normal reaction? Please help.
Well, I don't believe that's a normal reaction, and I want to be careful. I'm not a medical doctor, and if somebody is throwing up on a regular basis, they should probably go and see their medical doctor just to make sure that there's nothing acute going on, that there's no sickness. I've never heard of anyone throwing up from using the zeolite. The zeolite doesn't have any types of materials in it that should cause that type of reaction. And so if that's occurring, they should probably stop immediately and allow their body to have some healing time. If they want to try it again, they may try maybe just one drop of the Pure Body or one spray of the Pure Body Extra to see if it is being triggered by that. It could be an aggressive detoxification, but that's an unusual circumstance that I've never heard before. And so the first thing the person should do is stop and let their body settle out. Maybe consider going to see their physician, because that's not a common occurrence that I've ever heard.
Okay, thank you. Eddie, the next question. I went to my local health food store and they have never heard of zeolite, which makes me uncomfortable.
Well, I don't know where that person lives, and I don't know, where they went, but
in America
are common. They can look on our website to look at cited references in terms of research. If you click that link below and you click on, for example, say Pure Body Extra, when you scroll down the page, you'll see a tab that says Overview, one that says Benefits, one that says Science. There's an FAQ and Review. If they click on the Science tab, towards the end of that tab are links to a variety of research papers that document the kind of work we've done, and will also show the broad nature of research and study regarding it. I just clicked on the page. There's something from the University of Wisconsin here in the United States. There's several things from Eastern Europe and Croatia, several things, University of New Mexico, Naval Academy in the United States, National Academy of Sciences. There's also something from Japan. So it's broadly recognized, but that doesn't mean that everybody knows. Of course, not everybody understands the value of greens as a supplement, and certainly that's true of zeolite. So if they'll just look a little more, I think they'll find a real sort of large body of people that recognize the value of zeolite.
Okay, and the last question. Can kids and even baby at 1 year old take zeolite? Is there any other external way to extract the nanobots and detox, something similar to Epsom salt, bean soda bath, something like this?
I'm not educated on using the Epsom salt or some of these other things, and so I don't want to comment on areas I don't have any type of expertise. What I do understand are the zeolites and how they work in the body. If you're using Pure Body Regular, which is small enough at a 0.3, 0.4 size, micron size average, it's going to get into the soft tissue and the bloodstream, circulate through the body, and you're going to excrete it through principally urine, possibly through fecal waste. If you combine it with the Pure Body Extra, because they do have a synergy, now not only does that help to you excrete toxins through urine and waste, but now at a cellular level, it processes out, burns up through the liver, and the waste is excreted the same as with urine and with fecal matter, right? So these two things, they work in the body that way. In terms of kids, we encourage people to think through, whether their kids, their body size is large enough to eat solid foods or things of that kind. We are cautious with children internally at the company. I do know that we have nurses and medical doctors that use the products with their children, small children, but I take a cautious approach, and so someone should think about, does their child eat solid foods and things of that kind before they would give them really any type of nutritional supplement, and always in those cases to talk with their pediatrician for their child's doctor for just safety.
Okay, Eddie, thank you very much for giving us and sharing your product with us. And now people can decide what is good for their health and their life, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to speak to everyone. I have gotten some questions from some of the people that are watching your show, so we're always happy to help out and tackle any questions that people have.
Okay. If you have any questions, you can still write to me or write on the comments anytime. Eddie, thank you very much for being here with me today.
Harry, thank you for having me, and good luck the rest of your week.
Thank you. Same to you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. If you like, please thumb up and subscribe. If you want to see the zeolite product, please look under my video. There are links over there. And if you have any questions, please write anytime. Thank you. Bye-bye.